The 2024 NBA draft class has been off to a disappointing start this season, and you might be like, that we're not even 2 weeks into the NBA season. Well, if you look back at the 2023 draft class, Brandon Miller was really good out of the gate. Cason Wallace, Derek Lively made really good impacts for winning teams. You go back to 2022, 2021, you'll find multiple lottery picks at the minimum that have had good starts to their career. It's kind of crazy how bad as a whole the 2024 draft class has been. Now, that doesn't mean there's been good games so far from rookies, and there are some rookies that are having good starts to their NBA careers. But I just want to talk about this draft class, maybe what's going right for some of these prospects, what's going wrong, who's my updated rookie of the year pick, and how wide open that award is right now as a whole. So we're going to start off with the number 1 overall pick in Zaccharie Risacher. I feel like he was disrespected in the NBA survey. No GMs gave him a pick to win rookie of the year. Well, I thought he was definitely going to be at least in that conversation to win the award. I bet on it. And you may look at the shooting numbers right now and you may be like, wow, this was the number 1 overall pick. Well, I don't think the numbers tell the true story for Risacher. Yes, his shots aren't falling offensively, but I think he's looked so much better from the summer league to preseason, where he looked night and day different, to right now. He looks more comfortable on the floor. He's getting good looks, and exactly why they brought him in next to Trae Young, it's working as they expected. Trae Young is setting him up offensively, but what I don't think is showing up in the box score is how good Zaccharie Risacher has been defensively, especially with his off-ball defense. This was pretty much what he was advertised to be, a good off-ball defender and to be a good complementary shooter next to Trae Young this season. Obviously, the shots haven't been falling yet, but he's been getting into passing lanes. He's been playing really good on-ball defense at the point of attack, guarding other teams' best players. He's blocking more shots than I expected, and I think he's holding his own, and he's still pretty skinny out there. He's going to be putting on weight each year, and I think we've seen great defensive flashes throughout the first handful of games of his NBA career. But when you're shooting sub 40% from the field, sub 25% from 3, sub 60% from the line at the moment I'm recording this, it is kind of unfortunate from the number 1 overall pick, but I do think it's going to get better over time. I think they're asking him to do a little bit too much as a primary ball handler and attacking at the rim. I think that's going to come eventually, but right now he needs to stay in his complementary shooting role and just focus on the on-ball and off-ball defense, because that is off to a great start. Now, I feel like I'm going to have a love-hate relationship with Alex Sarr throughout the first couple of years of his career. He was my number 1 prospect. He's not been off to a good start. We know how bad he was in the summer league. He had an up and down preseason. There were some flashes. There were some bad games. You could honestly say the same thing like Risacher. Sarr has shown plenty of defensive flashes, especially as a rim protector, and I think he has done a great job being a mobile big man that can go from box to box in the paint, guard multiple positions, has even shown flashes of guarding guys on the perimeter. He could block shots. He's averaging over 2 blocks a game to start off his career. We knew that he could be a good defender out of the gate, but man, the efficiency has been so bad for a decent sample size since coming over from the NBL, like I said, in summer league preseason now, where he's shooting sub 35% from the field, sub 30% from 3, and he's 7 feet tall, and he's missing the easiest shots inside. So I don't know if this is going to be a Mo Bamba 2.0 where that never comes, but I think Alex Sarr is a very intelligent player. He's already super skilled on the defensive end of the floor. I'd like to think that these shots that are within 4 feet, they're going to fall eventually, and when they do, he's going to be the best player from this draft class, which I think he has the potential to be, but I think it's been a little bit all over the place so far to start off his career. He's also playing center. They have Valanciunas coming off the bench now. They'll stagger those minutes at times, but it's funny because he didn't want to go to Atlanta because he didn't want to play center. He wanted to play power forward. Now he's currently playing center for the Wizards. Funny how that works out. So I think Reed Sheppard would be the runaway rookie of the year pick if he was playing more minutes, right? He's behind Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, Dylan Brooks. There's a ton of guys in front of him in the Houston Rockets rotation pecking order where Sheppard isn't getting the volume that he needs, because he was phenomenal in the summer league. He was all right in the preseason, but still showed a lot of flashes that I think he could be NBA ready as a shooter. And in his minutes so far, yeah, I think he's forcing a little bit. He wants to prove to Ime Udoka and the Rockets that he should be playing more. And the size is going to overmatch him sometimes, as he is a smaller guard. Sometimes if it's getting switched onto a bigger wing, it's going to struggle trying to get at him at the rim, and he's really going to have to focus just shooting on the perimeter. And I hope Reed Sheppard's time does come. I don't know if that's going to be only if an injury happens or if the Rockets make a trade at the deadline. Maybe they send out 2 players in return for 1 or something like that, and then we could see Reed Sheppard play more minutes a night, because he's averaging around 10 minutes a night so far. He's barely getting any shots up, and in these minutes, he wants to prove to the coaching staff that he can play more. So sometimes he may be rushing shots, maybe it's a bad shot overall, but I think Reed Sheppard not playing the minutes he deserves right now is actually making it a really interesting rookie of the year discussion, because like I said, I think he would run away with that award right now, but since he's not playing those minutes, the award is up for grabs. So next up at the 4th overall pick, you have Stephon Castle, who was such a integrated part in the UConn offense, one of the best offenses in college basketball. Then he goes to the San Antonio Spurs at number 4. They signed Chris Paul, which we're all like, this is going to be a great mentor for Stephon. But I think like a lot of people had question marks with a ton of guys in this top 10. His shot is not falling right now. He's playing a decent amount of minutes, over 20 minutes a night to start off his NBA career. He's shooting under 35% from the field. He has not hit a single 3 at the moment I'm recording this. But I think positives for Castle, there are the defensive flashes, which we saw at UConn, and I think the playmaking is right there. I thought Castle was going to be more of a wing. I'm seeing true point guard potential down the line from him. He's making some really good passes every single game for the Spurs, and I think he can develop into a good point guard eventually. I'd like to see him be a little bit better of an off-ball player, cutting, slashing, where I think that was where he excelled at UConn last year, but I think it's going to take some time for him to gel into the San Antonio Spurs offense. So I had Alex Sarr number 1. I had Ron Holland number 2 in my pre-draft evaluations, and Ron Holland I think has shown plenty of flashes on the defensive end of the floor. I think this rookie class has actually done a really good job defensively. The three-point shot is not falling, which was something that was a big weakness for him coming out of the G League Ignite. If that shot could fall, he would have been a guaranteed top 3 pick in this draft because he can get downhill. He's super athletic. He was the most athletic player in this draft class in my opinion, but he's only playing around 13 to 15 minutes a night, so hopefully he's going to play more as the season goes along and we could see more Ron Holland integrated in this offense rather than maybe a Malik Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr. coming the second half of his rookie campaign. Stephon Castle had a really good preseason for the Charlotte Hornets, but he didn't play in his first 2 games with Charlotte, which was interesting because Brandon Miller got hurt. They were banged up as a team overall, so I thought that's where Stephon Castle could have found some more playing time, but he hasn't been able to get a ton of shots up yet, so I still think there's a lot of confidence that Charlotte has in Stephon Castle throughout the course of this season. They just have to get him integrated into this offense, but like Risacher with Trae Young, Stephon Castle gets the benefit playing with a great point guard playmaking guy in LaMelo Ball. So over time, I think LaMelo is going to build up that chemistry with Stephon, and he's going to have a solid rookie year, probably more in the second half of the season if I had to guess. So we talked about Reed Sheppard not getting a lot of playing time before. This player is getting an alright amount of playing time, but he's never going to start because the guy ahead of him is making a ton of money, and that is DeAndre Ayton. So yeah, I'm talking about Donovan Clingan. Clingan has shown really good rim protecting potential right now. He's blocking shots left and right when he's out there. He could score inside. He's made some, maybe a bad alley-oop miss or maybe a bad miss dunk inside, but those are going to come with some rookie growing pains, and he's just got to play more than these low teen minutes a night and build up this chemistry with Scoot Henderson. Donovan Clingan should be your franchise center. Scoot Henderson should be your backup point guard. So right now, neither of them are starting, but I think Clingan, if he played more, like if he started, he could have been the rookie of the year as well, but I think that's going to limit him from winning that award just because he's not going to be playing nearly enough minutes to get those counting stats for it, but he's been a rebounding machine when he's been out there. One of my favorite prospects in the draft hasn't played yet in the moment I'm recording this, and that is Rob Dillingham, which is kind of odd because we've seen some Joe Ingles minutes in Minnesota, and I think Dillingham should get that playing time because he can provide that microwave scoring off the bench. He can get that bench unit going, plays with a lot of energy, and he can really change the course of the game with the momentum swing he can provide, and maybe we're going to eventually see Rob Dillingham if there's an injury in Minnesota. Dante DiVincenzo hasn't been off to the greatest start, so let's get Dillingham, who was a phenomenal shooter at Kentucky last year, into the rotation, Chris Finch. Now here's been a polarizing prospect so far, Zach Edey. A lot of people picked him to win Rookie of the Year, and he should get the playing time to at least be in that conversation. He's averaging around 16 minutes a night to start off the year. He's been getting into foul trouble. It was kind of funny in his debut, he fouled out in 15 minutes against the Utah Jazz, but he settled down after that. He hasn't hit 6 fouls since opening night, but I think teams are going at Edey a little bit more. I think he could be a little bit more efficient inside for the shots he's taking. Yes, he's been efficient overall, shooting above 50% on the season, but with the shots he's taking, he should be better than that, and he's got to work on his free throws because he can go to the line a ton given how big he is, so he's going to leave a lot of points on the board if he does not work on his free throws. But he's already dealing with a calf injury. I wonder if those are going to linger throughout the season since he played a lot last year with Purdue since they made it to the national championship game. Cody Williams went 10th overall to the Utah Jazz. Taylor Hendricks is out for the year. They've had multiple injuries outside of Taylor on their team already, so we've seen Cody Williams even start a game so far. He's averaging the most amount of minutes out of anybody in this top 10 that isn't Alex Sarr or Zaccharie Risacher. His shots aren't falling either. The big thing with Cody at Colorado is he didn't really show aggressiveness all the time when he had the ball in his hand. Sometimes he'd be a little bit passive, and I think that's been on display a little bit for the Jazz so far. So I think there's going to be a lot of up and downs with Cody Williams this year. I just hope they don't run him into the ground and it ruins his confidence going into year number 2. Buzelis, the 11th overall pick, also hasn't played a ton to start off this season, and he had a really encouraging summer league in preseason as well, but the Bulls are actually off to a solid start. Zach LaVine's playing well. Josh Giddey has turned into Steph Curry, so I don't know if we're going to see Buzelis play a good amount of minutes and get a good amount of shots up until after the trade deadline this season. We haven't seen the 12th overall pick Nikola Topic or the 13th overall pick Devin Carter yet due to injuries, but Bob Carrington at 14, honestly, may be a sneaky Rookie of the Year contender right now because he's playing more minutes than we all expected because Malcolm Brogdon has been hurt to start off the year. The three-point shot looks good. It's in rhythm. He can step into it, move off ball. I think the playmaking has looked really good. I think he's rebounding very nicely out there. And right now, in a very small sample size, he's up there in the Rookie of the Year conversation just because of how bad this lottery has been as a whole. Now I just want to get into the non-moderate guys that have impressed me so far. I think Dalton Knecht, who I also took in my predictions to win that award on this channel, has arguably been the favorite so far. He was the first rookie to score over 16 points when he scored 18 against the Cavs in a game the Lakers were getting blown out in, so it's not like those 18 were really that important for the Lakers to win that game, but it's nice to see him being able to get to his spots in the half court. The shot has looked good. He's able to get it over to defenders, and I actually think the defense, which was definitely a concern at Tennessee, has actually been pretty good so far. Yves Missi, I think, has done a tremendous job for the Pelicans as their main rim protector. Daniel Tice is already banged up a little bit. Missi's made some really athletic blocks so far, and I think he's going to be the full-time starter sooner than we may have thought. Ryan Dunn, everybody wants to talk about as well, because this dude learned how to shoot apparently. He was not a good shooter whatsoever at Virginia. He did not shoot the ball well at the combine. It didn't look much better in the summer league either. But man, he's off to a great start with his three-point shot on good volume as well. He's taking multiple a night, and he's knocking down them at a solid clip, and the defense has already been great. He's done a great job on some really good offensive players like LeBron James, because when I was scouting Ryan Dunn at Virginia and evaluating him in my prospect rankings, man, he stood out defensively. We all knew that he was the best defender in this class, and it's translated over perfectly to the NBA level. It's funny that the second round may be outplaying the first round right now in the first couple of weeks of the NBA season. Jonathan Mogbo has done a great job as a connecting piece for the Toronto Raptors. They've had a fair share of injuries so far, so he's playing more, and he's done a really good job facilitating, rebounding, and scoring inside. I think AJ Mitchell has done a great job in this Thunder rotation. I'm shocked he's getting minutes this early in the season, but he's looked good defensively and calm offensively in those minutes. Jamal Shead also looks like a dog defensively. This is what we saw during a long career in college basketball, and he has translated that over to the NBA level. If you were talking about like on-ball point of attack defense, it was Ryan Dunn 1, it was Jamal Shead number 2 in this class. The big thing with him though, he's a smaller guard, so can he finish inside efficiently? Can his outside shot be consistent enough? And it's not looked too bad to start off the season. And oh yeah, we also got to see Bronny James score a bucket against the Cavs before we did with Rob Dillingham in Minnesota or Terrence Shannon Jr. there as well. Something I did not have on my bingo card for this NBA season. So that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this rookie class so far. And let me know, who do you think is gonna win Rookie of the Year? Has it changed from the preseason? Let me know down below. Drop a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy these videos. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.